So my name is Captain Boyd Melson. I'm a captain of the Army Reserve. So I was put on orders to come on down here for this talk. I was active duty, went to school with Major Cook over there, went to West Point together, graduated 1 year ahead of him, served my 5 years active duty. I boxed in the Army while I was doing that. The Army's world-class athlete program. Y'all know about that program? Roger that. So I boxed. I won the Armed Forces Championship 3 times, the United States Army Championship 4 times, and the World Military Championship 1 time. So for that 1 year, I was the best person in our whole world in my weight class in the Armed Forces. So in retrospect now, that sounds pretty cool. At the time, I didn't really get it, being older and fat and out of shape. It was pretty neat. I boxed full time. When I was in the Army, I was, again, as I said, and I was on Team USA as well for those years. I placed second in the U.S. in Nationals. I placed fourth 1 year, second 1 year. Anyone here big boxing fans? Pro boxing? Yeah, I have a win and a loss against Keith Thurman. This might look pain to fame, but I have a loss as well. And I was an alternate for the U.S. Olympic team in 2008, moved on forward, started boxing professionally. And the reason I started boxing professionally is because I needed to try to find a way to raise some money for a medical study that hopefully would cure paralysis. And in short, why I did that is because my ex-girlfriend at the time, which was my girlfriend for many years, but when I chose to turn professional, we were no longer a couple. But I promised her while we were together, since she was paralyzed and she broke her neck when she was 10 years old in a diving accident, that about 2 years being in together, I will never give up for the rest of my life. I promise I'll never give up for the rest of my life trying to help her walk. And I didn't say for the rest of our relationship or the rest of her life, I said the rest of my life. Never give up. So I found out a medical study, funds were being raised publicly. But I found I had a way, I thought of a way to try to raise funds, and I was let me become a professional boxer. I was working full-time, I was out of the Army, become a professional boxer, donate every single thing I earned in the ring towards this medical study, and hopefully, through example, leading up front now, set an example, risk of my life in that ring, and then many hours of training leading up to each fight, giving all that. And what resulted was my very first boxing purse of $1,500 that I donated, not the big dollars that everyone thinks boxers make, but $1,500 that I donated. Now it's turned into about $370,000 over the course of 5.5 years. Now those $370,000 were not from all my purses as well. Maybe about $40,000 were from my purses over the course of 17 fights. But by inspiring through leading by example, with the stakes the highest, second to maybe being out deployed in war, being in a ring with somebody trying to kill you, knock you out, but there's no difference between trying to knock you out versus trying to kill you. I've inspired, and people started giving and giving and giving. I took on the name the Rainmaker for my boxing nickname. No, not raining in the club like everybody thinks when they hear it. Not that. The Rainmaker across all cultures throughout history and society brings hope. You lean on the Rainmaker, you call to the Rainmaker when there's drought, when there's famine, when there's suffering. Well, I needed to provide that hope in order to inspire so that money could be donated so that people paralyzed in their wheelchairs could hopefully walk again one day. Now, a statistic that isn't known, especially within our armed forces, from 2001 through 2011, 7,000 armed forces members returned home paralyzed. Anyone here know that? No? Anyone? Y'all want to talk? Anyone know that? No. Okay. I didn't know that until I learned that when I was doing this. 1/3 of the people in our country paralyzed in wheelchairs are treated at the VA. Y'all know that? No. So does that mean that's our family being hit with that, right? So this started with me just doing this for Kristen, but it has transcended the armed forces and now humanity. So that's my story. Quick synopsis of it. How to say synopsis? Quick synopsis of that. See, when you do a spinal cord injury, you have synapses, you have to take punches, stuff happens. All right. Stuff happens to y'all too. Don't try to be shy. Y'all messed up too. So, brought here to try to put some fire in the butt. Now, this is an easy one. I'm speaking to my fellow people. Now, all human beings are our fellow people. They divide into little groups, and sometimes it makes it a little nasty. But what I'm going to say right here for my fellow people, not armed forces members, not people in the Army, people that understand the value of selfless service. Does that make sense? Thank you. I think that's a great group to be a part of. The part of the human race that understands selfless service, that we share this planet, that taking care, if you live every day taking care of someone to the left and right of you, that means at a minimum, you always have two other human beings taking care of you. That sound pretty nice? Word. Thank you. Wake up and respond when I ask questions. If you don't like it, I don't mind thumping. I'll put it on out there. I know it don't look like much, but I got a lot of scrap in me. So I need y'all to respond. Please. Make me feel like I'm inspiring y'all. Sound good? Roger that. Okay. So, I remember when I was at West Point, my father is retired, first started with Sergeant Major Academy as well. Retired, finished first in his class in 1990, but never was promoted because turned down a position in Panama. Didn't want to move us. One of the things he said to me when I was a cadet at West Point, this U.S. on our shoulders here, on our chest, it stands for United States Army, but it also stands for us. Us, our Army, our armed forces, our country, our world. We have a responsibility much greater than just what's in this room, to who we are responsible to. We are in the leading nation in this country, in this world rather, excuse me. There's no punches. The leading nation in this world. And as a result of that, the responsibility, that great power is, we have to go out, and it's tasked whether we want to or not. But we have to go out, and we have to help try to provide an ideal. The ideal that our country was based off of, that no one human being is greater than. It doesn't matter ever who's elected into office here. It's what the ideal was for why we needed that office. And that was an integration of humans across the globe coming together to live for freedom, right? Freedom, choice, happiness, equality, to love one another, and as long as you're living this world loving one another, it doesn't matter how you live day to day in this country. That's what we were based off of. So that's our responsibility. But that transcends as well, because that's not just love for us when we're in this uniform. And that's not just love for us when we have to go on out, and we have to travel, or we get deployed or mobilized, and have to provide a service based off what our armed forces is telling us to do. Our country is mandating at that time. What we have to do is, when we're in this or not in this, or when we retire it, or if we never stepped into it, this uniform, or any version of it, selfless service is selfless service to humanity. Every moment you're living, you live selflessly, and those are the values that we've incorporated and indoctrinated into our being. That's the best version of yourself at all times, when you're living selflessly. And it has a contagious effect, because you emit this energy, this aura, this Bruce Leroy glow, right? You attract that light, and you attract the light of others, and you hold your light so others can match yours. Selflessly. Don't be afraid, ever, to live selflessly, because the universe has an extraordinary way of balancing out and conspiring. And when that happens, I believe that's the key to this whole mechanism we exist in, this whole matrix seeming to flow and make sense. If everybody lived selflessly, that's the key to our future at all times for existence. So I live off the moniker, and I focus on this greatly. The choices we make dictate the lives we live. So if you want that life that you believe you want, to thine own self be true. We live our choices on a daily basis. Our choices create our lives on a daily basis. Wherever you are at any moment, you can track back to how you freaking got there based off of some choice you made. It can be very far removed, but you track it back, it was your choice. It may have been indirect, but they all led. It was a cascade. We live our choices. And here's the great part. You ready? Our choices that create our lives create our legends. our legends. Take that home with you. You apply that. The person you want to be, make that be the person you are. So when the day is done, the legend you left based off those choices for who you want to be is a legend that was true for who you thought you were, because it was who you were. That selfless human being, loving this planet, standing up for those who can't stand up for themselves, for who are weaker at a moment, or who may need you to lean on. The same way we do every time we put on this uniform. Thank you all for your time here, for listening to my passion, for listening to my rant. Major Cook, for loving me like you do always, for taking care of me, brother. Guys, are there any questions offline? I know you have to go through the award ceremony. But any questions? You want any contact info, anything? Please reach out to Major Cook. He won't give it to you, but you can reach out. He'll give it to you. How'd y'all get fired up at all? I do my job?